I don't mean right now.
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
That is such a juggernaut.
Imagine a world where families are more than just blood ties. They're a network of power, destiny, and sometimes even the unknown. In the comic book world, such intricate family trees often weave stories as captivating as the heroes and villains themselves. Today, we embark on a journey through the family tree of one of Marvel's most iconic, Juggernaut, the unstoppable force. From stepbrothers bearing legacies to step-nephews born in the shadows of intrigue, the world of Juggernaut is more than brawn and brute force. It's a narrative filled with secrets, powers, and connections that run deeper than one might imagine. Each twist and turn reveals a new chapter, rich with drama and complexity. Join us as we unravel the hidden ties and explore the untold stories behind this character, making every link in Juggernaut's family tree a captivating page in the comic book chronicle. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
I told you to be nice to the kid. If his mother dumps me, we'll be out all that money.
Kurt Marco, father. In mutant history, one name stands out as a prime figure, both for its connection to one of the X-Men's most dreadful foes and for the tragic family drama. Dr. Kurt Marco, a brilliant nuclear scientist, found himself entangled in a web that would shape the destinies of his two sons, Cain Marco and Charles Xavier. His life took an unexpected turn when his marriage to Margerie Marco crumbled, ultimately leading to her demise. Dr. Marco, perhaps overwhelmed by the weight of his responsibilities, decided to send Cain to a boarding school. In the year 1946, Dr. Marco became involved in Project Black Womb, a covert government initiative led by Amanda Mueller and supported by figures like Dr. Nathan Milbury, who would later become the infamous Mr. Sinister, Dr. Alexander Reiking, and Irene Adler. This project was shrouded in secrecy, and it involved the study of thousands of postnatal holding tanks, primarily containing mutant children. Dr. Brian Xavier, a colleague of Dr. Marco and Dr. Reiking, met an unfortunate end in a nuclear facility explosion. With Margerie already gone, Dr. Marco took it upon himself to offer solace to Brian's widow, Sharon Xavier. Slowly but surely, he convinced her that Charles, her son, needed a fatherly figure to care for him. Despite Charles' protests, Dr. Marco and Sharon were wed, instantly transforming Dr. Marco into a wealthy man, thanks to the significant inheritance left by Sharon's late husband. The newly expanded family moved into the Xavier estate. However, Dr. Marco's attention seemed to favor Charles, the gentle and intelligent young boy, over his biological son Cain. This unequal treatment led to a strained relationship between the two brothers, with Cain resorting to bullying Charles, while Dr. Marco secretly subjected Cain to physical abuse. As Charles's telepathic powers began to manifest around the age of 10, he uncovered the truth about Dr. Marco's true motivations, an insatiable greed for his newfound wealth. Dr. Marco's negligence and cruelty pushed Sharon towards alcoholism, and she succumbed to a broken heart. Following Sharon's death, Charles was left to live with his stepfather and abusive stepbrother. The final chapter in Dr. Marco's life unfolded during a heated argument in his private laboratory, focused on financial matters. Cain confronted his father, accusing him of having a role in the accidental demise of Dr. Xavier during the Alamo Gordo disaster. Dr. Marco denied the accusations, gripping Cain's coat and admonishing him never to speak of it again. Little did they know, Charles was eavesdropping just outside the door, catching every word. Realizing that his stepbrother had overheard, Cain intended to cause a commotion, leading to the destruction of his father's chemical experiments. He hurled a vial of green liquid, setting off a chaotic chain reaction that resulted in a devastating explosion, leaving the laboratory in flames. In a selfless act that marked the culmination of Dr. Marco's life, he carried both his son Cain and his stepson Charles to safety. However, his own wounds proved fatal, and he breathed his last with a plea for forgiveness for failing to save Dr. Xavier when the opportunity had presented itself. In his final moments, Dr. Marco urged Charles to keep his powers hidden from Cain, but fate, it seems, had other plans, as Charles's telepathic gift was revealed to his stepbrother during this tragic incident. The legacy of Dr. Kurt Marco is one fraught with pain, secrets, and unresolved conflicts. Cain, his son, would go on to become the menacing Juggernaut, a longtime nemesis of the X-Men. In stark contrast, Charles would rise above the darkness of his upbringing, using his substantial inheritance and the Xavier family estate to establish the X-Men. The strife within his family would echo through the years, casting long shadows over the lives of its descendants. Margerie Marco, mother. In the list of the Juggernaut's family history, Margerie Marco stands as a fleeting presence, yet her influence is undeniable. She was the first wife of Kurt Marco and the loving mother of Cain, though her time with them was tragically short-lived. Marjorie's journey as a mother was cut cruelly short when she passed away when Cain was just a tender 3-year-old. Her untimely death cast a shadow over the Marco family, leaving young Cain to navigate the complexities of life without the comforting embrace of a mother's love. Although her time on this earth was brief, Margerie Marco's memory lives on in the legacy of her son Cain. The absence of a mother's guiding hand would shape Cain's destiny, propelling him down a path of power and destruction. Marjorie's presence may have been fleeting, but its impact on the world of mutants and superheroes is enduring, as her son's might would come to challenge the most valiant heroes of our time. Sharon Xavier Marco, stepmother. In the Xavier Marco family history, Sharon Xavier Marco emerges as a pitiable figure, deeply entwined with the destinies of her children Charles and Cain. Her journey begins as the wife of the prosperous nuclear researcher Dr. Brian Xavier, where they shared a life at the Xavier Mansion in Westchester County, New York. But her life took a turn when she became pregnant. This pregnancy, however, was unlike any other, as it held not one, but 2 souls within her womb. Twins. One was Charles Xavier, destined to become the revered Professor X, and the other was Cassandra Nova, a malevolent mummadry entity, the polar opposite of a person. That's another story we will cover further in the video. After Dr. Brian Xavier's accident, Sharon found solace in the comforting presence of Dr. Kurt Marco. Rest follows, as discussed earlier. Driven by a desire to ensure that Charles received the paternal care he needed, Sharon married Dr. Marco. This union was meant to be in the best interest of Charles, even though it meant marrying against his wishes. That is how Sharon became the stepmother of Cain. Dr. Marco's sudden influx of wealth, stemming from Sharon's inheritance, transformed their lives, but not necessarily for the better. Dr. Marco spent the majority of his time away from his new wife and stepson, neglecting their well-being. It became increasingly apparent that his affections were reserved for Sharon's wealth, leaving Charles feeling the pangs of jealousy for the fortune that should have been his. As Charles' telepathic powers began to awaken at the tender age of 10, he uncovered a harsh reality. Dr. Marco's true motivation was the Xavier fortune, and his cruelty knew no bounds. Sharon bore the brunt of the abuse, spiraling into alcoholism as a result. In a heartbreaking act of love and empathy, Charles connected his mind to his mother's, sharing her pain and anguish. Tragically, Sharon's heart couldn't withstand the torment. She passed away, leaving Charles in the care of his stepfather, Dr. Marco, and his abusive stepbrother, Cain. Charles Xavier, stepbrother. Charles Xavier, the dreamer, the founder, the mutant mentor. Charles Xavier, often referred to as Professor X, is a name that resonates with power and purpose. Until now, it's clear that they're stepbrothers. He possesses extraordinary telepathic abilities and is a scholar in mutant biology and sociology. But beyond his remarkable gifts, he's the visionary founder of the X-Men, and his life is a testament to the unwavering dream of harmony between mutants and humans. With steadfast support from the brilliant Dr. Moira McTaggart, Charles' life has been dedicated to a singular goal: the peaceful coexistence of mutants and humans. He embarked on a journey across the globe as a young man, seeking to understand mutant kind in all its complexity. Along the way, he encountered both a cherished friend and a formidable adversary, a man who would later be known as Magneto. In the rugged heights of the Himalayas, a life-altering confrontation with the villainous Lucifer left Charles paralyzed from the waist down. Undeterred by adversity, he transformed his family's ancestral home into the hallowed grounds of the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. This institution became a sanctuary, a haven for mutants to hone their extraordinary abilities and learn to navigate a world that often viewed them with suspicion and fear. Under Charles's vigilant guidance, the first X-Men were formed, a group of superheroes who fought for a world that harbored prejudice and mistrust against mutants. Professor X's dream served as their guiding light. As the years unfolded, Charles and his X-Men found themselves entangled in conflicts, both with humans who couldn't accept mutants and with mutants who held differing philosophies. Cassandra Nova Xavier, stepsister. Cassandra Nova Xavier, the sinister shadow of Charles Xavier. Cassandra Nova Xavier is a name that sends shivers down the spines of even the most daunting superheroes. To the Shi'ar, she's known as a mummadry, a being that embodies the equal and opposite of a person's spirit. Thanks to the astounding genetic potential of Professor Charles Xavier, his mummadry Cassandra possessed a power that set her apart from the ordinary. Unlike most Mumadrai, she managed to create a physical form, effectively becoming Charles's twin while still in their mother Sharon Xavier's womb. As they gestated together within Sharon, Cassandra's presence was sensed by Charles as an ominous evil. In a desperate act to protect himself and the world from this sinister force, Charles used his booming psychic powers to battle Cassandra while still in the womb. The ferocity of their psychic clash had dire consequences, leading to Sharon's heartbreaking miscarriage. Although doctors declared Cassandra stillborn, she was far from extinguished. Instead, she survived in secret, existing as a growing mass of cells within a sewer wall. Over the passing decades, she patiently crafted a new body for herself and plotted her chilling revenge against her twin brother Charles Xavier. Cassandra Nova Xavier's story is one of darkness and revenge, a chilling presence that emerged from the shadows to haunt the X-Men and their leader in ways they could have never imagined. Maybe she was the sister Kane always deserved. Leandra Neramani, sister-in-law. Leandra Neramani stands as a regal figure, a member of the noble royal family of the Shi'ar Empire. The Shi'ar, an extraterrestrial race, held dominion over countless inhabited worlds across the galaxy, with their rule centered on the artificial planet known as Chandalar, the Imperial Throne World. Her relationship with Charles makes her a part of Juggernaut's family. She and Charles go way back in Marvel history, from falling deeply in love to getting married and later facing their marriage being annulled. It was a tough and somewhat twisted relationship. So much so that Leandra had a son, Xavier, of which she did not tell Xavier because of the annulled marriage. Leandra's path began in the Eyrie, the birthplace of the Shi'ar race. She was born into a world of political intrigue and family strife. Her elder sister, known as Deathbird, was originally the rightful heir to the Shi'ar throne. However, her ambitions took a dark turn as she committed regicide, slaying their father and one of their sisters. This heinous act cost her the throne, and their younger brother Deccan ascended as the emperor. For her crimes, Deathbird was cast into the unforgiving expanse of space. Leandra, on the other hand, assumed the role of Grand Admiral of the Imperial Guard, a legion of superhuman champions tasked with upholding Shi'ar law throughout the vast empire. But the empire's leadership was in disarray. Deccan, the newly crowned emperor, was plagued by madness and harbored a perilous ambition. He sought to harness the staggering power concealed within the Macron crystal, ignorant of the calamity it could unleash upon the universe. Recognizing the dire threat posed by her brother's reckless quest, Leandra took a courageous stand. She adamantly opposed Deccan's dangerous plans within the Shi'ar High Council. In response, Deccan had her arrested, concocting a false narrative that accused her of attempting to murder him and seize the throne. This deception plunged the empire into civil war, tearing it asunder. Leandra's defiance came at a great cost. She found herself captive aboard the Imperial flagship, awaiting her impending execution. In a twist of fate, she managed to escape in a small starship, embarking on a quest to seek aid in preventing her brother's cataclysmic ambitions. Her journey led her to Earth, where she encountered a telepathic presence she couldn't ignore, Charles Xavier. At the time, Xavier had harnessed the collective will of humanity to repel an alien invasion. Recognizing Earth's abundance of superhuman beings, Leandra sought their assistance. However, her mission was fraught with peril as the Shi'ar agent Eric the Red intervened, leading to a turbulent journey through hyperspace and an encounter with the enigmatic Macron crystal. It was in this world that the power of the crystal threatened the fabric of reality itself. The universe's salvation came in the form of the entity known as Phoenix, who took on the persona of Jean Grey and prevented cosmic devastation. Deccan's descent into irreversible madness stemmed from a psychic assault within the crystal. Xavier returned to Earth, and Leandra joined him, awaiting the Shi'ar High Council's decision about her fate. Despite her rebellion against the former emperor, they ruled in her favor, and she became the Magistrix, the Empress, with Xavier as her consort. Leandra Neramani's journey is one of cosmic upheaval, love, and a tireless commitment to safeguard the cosmos. Her path intersected with the X-Men, and thus with Juggernaut too. David Haller, stepnephew. David Haller's story is a captivating tale of identity, power, and a deeply intertwined family tree. Born of an affair between Professor Charles Xavier and Gabrielle Haller, who would later become the Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom, David's life was shrouded in secrets and potential. Charles and Gabrielle's passionate liaison in Israel led to the birth of David, a mutant child with untapped superhuman abilities. Yet, when Charles left Israel, he remained oblivious to the fact that Gabrielle was carrying his son. She chose to conceal this truth, and it was only after the founding of the New Mutants that Charles discovered the existence of his son David. The revelation came as a shock, unveiling a complex family dynamic rooted in secrecy and uncharted potential. Rumors later swirled, suggesting that David's birth might have been part of a calculated plan. Moira MacTaggart's journals hinted that Charles and Moira had orchestrated the circumstances of David's birth, envisioning a mutant with the ability to manipulate reality. This revelation added a layer of intrigue to David's origins. As a young boy, David resided in Paris with his mother, a dedicated member of the Israel Diplomatic Service. Tragedy struck their peaceful life when a terrorist assassination squad targeted Israeli nationals in their home. David's stepfather, Daniel Shamron, fell victim to the ruthless attack, an event witnessed by David himself. The shock and fear ignited David's latent psionic powers, enabling him to unleash a devastating psychic assault that incinerated the brains of the assassins. However, as he wielded his formidable powers, he made a startling connection with each of his victims, delving into their thoughts and emotions as they perished. The weight of these harrowing experiences overwhelmed the gentle and loving David, pushing him into a state of catatonia. To make matters even more complexing, the consciousness of Jamel Karami, the leader of the assassins, became intertwined with David's mind. Karami's presence in David's mind was far from benign. It took years for him to separate his consciousness from David's, during which time he gained a measure of control over David's telepathic abilities. This control allowed him to access David's thoughts and emotions. Through this intimate understanding of David, Karami recognized the young boy's fundamentally gentle and innocent nature. A subsequent exploration of the minds of Gabrielle Haller and others further revealed that David was in desperate need of help to restore his fractured psyche. David's traumatic experience had fragmented his personality, resulting in multiple alters, each possessing distinct psionic powers, some of which remained a mystery. Karami embarked on a mission to reintegrate these alters into David's core personality, which resembled that of a vulnerable child in need of guidance. Charles Xavier II, step-nephew. Charles Xavier II's story is a secret affair woven with tragedy. This is the time when Mystique, ever the chameleon, was impersonating the renowned Moira MacTaggart. This little boy was born to our beloved Mystique and Charles Xavier at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, England. His arrival into the world was marked by both hope and sorrow. Charles Xavier II's birth followed the death of his father due to his confrontation with the Cyclops powered by Phoenix Force. This event left young Charles orphaned, his father's legacy and the weight of his name looming over him. In the wake of this tragedy, Mystique made a heart-wrenching decision. Convinced that she was ill-equipped to raise her child, in a sad act, she chose to give away Charles Xavier II, concealing his existence from a world that was unaware of his potential. This decision set in motion a path that would remain veiled in secrecy, as the young mutant's lineage remained hidden even from him. The legacy of Charles Xavier II was obscured, but his connection to the X-Men's founder Charles Xavier carried immense significance. Xandra Neramani, stepniece. In the evolving saga of the Shi'ar Empire, Xandra Neramani's tale is a narrative riddled with intrigue, power struggles, and a lineage that defies convention. Her existence is the result of an extraordinary genetic endeavor, one that binds her to the legacies of Professor X and Majestrix Lilandra, her forebears. Following the somber passing of Professor X and Majestrix Lilandra, their genetic material became a source of great significance. Their essence was utilized in the creation of a child, a unique and powerful blend of human and Shi'ar heritage. The task of safeguarding this precious genetic legacy fell upon Cerise, a guardian who watched over the nascent life with devoted care, serenading it with lullabies in the depths of space. However, the Shi'ar Empire recognized the immense value of this genetic treasure, and their Imperial Guard sought to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. The recently wed Gambit and Rogue were entrusted with a mission to retrieve the precious cargo, but their mission took a turn. A confrontation left Rogue adrift in the cosmos along with the precious cargo in her care, and it was Deadpool who became an unlikely ally in her journey. Upon landing on a distant planet, the fate of the cargo hung in the balance. In the midst of an intense disagreement, the fragile egg cracked open, revealing a younger Rogue who emerged into the world. This new being, born from the fusion of her parents' memories, was bestowed with the name Xandra, signifying her unique lineage and the powerful genetic legacy she embodied. As the truth of her origin unraveled, Xandra's existence became a magnet for turmoil. Xandra Neramani's journey is of her resilience, her quest for truth, and her enduring role in the ever-shifting political landscape of the Shi'ar Empire. Marvelous verdict. In the universe of comics and storytelling, family trees often branch out into extraordinary dimensions, and the Juggernaut's family tree is no exception. As we conclude our exploration of his lineage, we've uncovered various narratives that blend the mundane with the mystical, the heart-wrenching with the heroic. It's a reminder that even the mightiest of characters are shaped by their connections, pasts, and the intricate bonds they share. Juggernaut's family is a testament to the power of storytelling and the enduring appeal of characters whose lives are interwoven with secrets, powers, and extraordinary destinies. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.